Man, first off, subscribe, all that stuff, the usual, just subscribe. I got no, I'm not gonna say I have no subscribers. I'm getting some, honestly every couple days. I got 17 right now, and I love that for me. Maybe if I get 500, which is like 400 plus more, 483 more subscribers, then we'll be in business, and I can give somebody a nice jersey. I can give away some stuff. I can start giving stuff away from people. I'm a generous person. I'm a giving guy. Go ahead and subscribe. If we get there, if we'll be in business, I'll start giving stuff out. Anyways, I'm gonna get into this Warriors-Lakers game. I have no script. If I start rambling, that's why. Y'all know I've said it's tough for me to make videos. It's a very difficult thing to do. So we'll see how long it takes me to get this video out. Hopefully I get it out before the conference final starts. Getting into this game, first thoughts immediately is just wow for the Lakers. I had faith in them winning this series and last series, but they've done it. They're starting to look, maybe not as dominant as they were. They were pretty dominant in 2020, but they definitely look for real, which some people still don't believe for whatever reason. I mean, the whole Warriors series, you had all these analysts, all these talking heads. Like, this is the series for the talking heads to go at it, and they had them saying stuff like, "Oh, the Warriors are a better team" when the Warriors are down 3-1. Just crazy stuff. I mean, the Warriors, they kind of live on this reputation of just being a team so much better than everybody else, but that was like 5 years ago, and they just had so much more talent than everybody, and they kind of are able to live on that reputation and just always be seen as a good team. But these past 2 years in basketball has been about health and matchup. This is the most even it's been in many, many years, really my entire life. This is probably the most even it's been to come in and win in the NBA Finals. I do think we need to reevaluate how we look at certain teams if we're just going to base them off past reputation. That being said, like I said in another video, the Warriors are never out of a series if they have Curry. He did his thing for the most part this series. There were times where you could argue he didn't deliver, but on a game-to-game basis, I would say he was pretty consistent. The problem with the Warriors right now, I think honestly, they just kind of need to reset and to recharge. In some ways, losing this series could be good for them. I think if you look at a guy like Clay, he mentioned in his post-game interview, this was his first full season. If you combine him coming back last season, playing through the whole playoffs, then this was the season that he finally was able to kind of get his legs under him. I don't think that always immediately translates into him just being ready to go for a full postseason. So I feel like he was a little bit tired. He was kind of getting in his own head, missing open shots, missing good looks. I don't think he's the Clay of old. Like he's going to have to turn into a different player, but he can still be effective. He's the second greatest shooter of all time for a reason. So he's going to have to get into the gym, come into training camp, focus on understanding I'm getting older. I may have to change my role a little bit. Draymond Green, I really think the Warriors need to bring Draymond Green back. It would be a big mistake if they just let him walk to another team. I know it's a money issue, and I get it. You've been paying all this money all this time. It's gotten you a lot of rings. How much better can it get? You're already one of the most popular, in some places the most popular NBA team. Is paying Draymond going to be that difference that makes you even more popular? That's the risk that they have to think about. In a lot of people's eyes, the case is no. The Warriors are already really popular. So continuing to have this core around, is that going to impact you? You've already completely changed basketball, not only in the Bay Area, like how the fans view that team. Like, as someone that is from there, the Warriors were not a team that people were, you could like go and see. Kids were really into it. Kids were wearing Warriors gear. People at high school, casual fans that aren't really into basketball, that wasn't really a thing. That became a thing once they became really good. Now that's the case. Are those people all of a sudden going to stop buying Warriors gear, going to stop trying to show how big of Warriors fans they are? I don't think that'll be the case. I think if you just talk about it from a contending standpoint, not a financial standpoint, you got to bring Draymond back. I know there's this sentiment within Warriors fans that he's a double agent or whatever crazy nonsense there is, but he really showed in Game 5. He showed out elimination game Draymond is a thing in my opinion, and he came alive in Game 5. Game 6, struggled, foul trouble, the usual, but that Game 5 showed me he should be with this team. Jordan Poole, I honestly don't even really want to get into him too much. He had a bad series, and some people would argue he had a bad year. I think this is just who he is. There's going to be some playoff series where he's just not the guy to go to. The unfortunate part is you're already paying him a lot of money. I don't think the solution is immediately just trade him, especially after the dismal performance he just had, especially if you get back things that are worse. If the right trade comes along, sure. I don't think the Warriors can get a star for Poole and Kuminga and some picks. Like, it would have to be a lot of picks, and it depends on the level of star. Like, they're trying to get a superstar. I'm not sure Poole is going to get them that, especially after the showing he just had. But I think think maybe just understand it's not completely, I'm not gonna say it's not his fault, but that's just not his game. He's just, I guess you could say, a one-dimensional scorer, comes in and is supposed to put up points. That's not gonna happen every playoff series. That's just how it is. Shout out to Andrew Wiggins, played through an injury. Don't have much to say about him. He did his thing. He was pretty consistent, probably one of the most consistent guys on the team. Played through an injury and was still present. Good for him. And now for some of the other guys on the Warriors, really not much to say. We have Looney. We know what he brings. Dante DiVincenzo, he put in work in that last game of the series. He's not a perfect player by any means. Good role player to have. I think he'll opt in. Their guys are showing they're willing to take pay cuts for the Warriors, like Looney, like Wiggins. The Warriors kind of younger pieces. I'm sure they'll look to trade them if they can. Like I said, it's always a matter of what are you going to get back? Is that luxury tax bill worth it? Does it immediately make you a contender? This team is paying some of the highest in the league to be a second round exit, and they were almost first round exit. So I'm sure ownership will have to have a deep long talk. Anyways, let's get into the winners. Let's get into the Lakers. They've shown that you have LeBron, you have AD, you have some health, because the Lakers aren't extremely healthy right now. They have some health in terms of LeBron and AD, and then you put role players around them, you put guys that can play around them, then you are in business. That's really all it takes. From a basketball standpoint, I don't even have much to say about the last game. I mean, we saw what they were doing. They were locking down, they were focused. They showed that same Memphis blueprint where they were kind of tired and taking their rest in game 2 and 5, and the calls weren't going their way, so they just decided, hey, you know what, we losing, let's mail it in and go off on the next game. Darvin Ham has showed he can coach at this level. He made an adjustment. Dennis came in. It set the tone. Dennis made sure that Curry could not rest. He couldn't just rest on Vanderbilt and do what he was doing on offense. He had to guard Dennis. Dennis is not easy to guard. Dennis is not, he's not the greatest offensive player on the court at any time, but Dennis can do what he does. Dennis can give you fits on defense. Dennis can give you fits on offense. His ejection was nonsense. Luckily, it didn't really change the tone of the game. The Lakers were so locked in, and it happened, as the game was it wasn't ending, but it was in the second half. But Lakers have these guys, I guess you can call them high character guys. Some of them have had issues in the past where you question their character, I guess. But when you have LeBron, like I said, LeBron locker rooms do not have issues. Whatever nonsense you may have had in the past, it's done once you go into a LeBron locker room. It's very clear. He's never had locker rooms with issues. He's been in locker rooms where Kyrie Irving, a guy that everyone says is destroyer of franchises, he's been in the locker room with that guy, and he was able to keep him, I don't want to say under control, because I don't think Kyrie's that bad. But there was no issues until kind of after Kyrie left, where, things came out. Kyrie didn't like his role, blah, blah, blah. But while he was there, you didn't have anything. This game just shows that the Lakers, they are the best defensive team in the league. Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the league. Once everyone buys in and decides to lock in on that end, especially when they don't really play guys that will kind of mess up their defensive chemistry. Like they found their group of guys that can go in and play defense, and those are the guys that are seeing the most minutes. Of course, Vando got benched yesterday and didn't play that much this series, but there were times during the series where he did play. He played in game 1. He played in, I think this was the second half. This is either second quarter or third quarter, I'm not sure. But Vando, he came in, immediately gets a steal and gets a dunk. That's what these guys do. They just lock in and defend. And when they have issues, they don't play that many minutes. Rui didn't play that many minutes this series. We haven't seen Beasley since the first round. These guys are locked in on defense. When they're hitting shots, it's really, really hard to beat them because they're going to lock you down. So when these guys hit shots like Lonnie did today, Austin did today, Lonnie hit shots in game 4, D'Angelo hit some shots, the game wasn't close. LeBron was being aggressive. The game is not close. So you really have to be on your P's and Q's and hope you catch the Lakers slipping, and hope you catch them when they're tired. That's how you beat them. But if the Lakers go in and they win another game 1, then you have a long series ahead of you. Looking ahead to next series, I'm not sure I'm going to do a second round recap video. I want to, but I don't know if I'm going to have the time to do so. So I'm just going to talk briefly my thoughts on Lakers Nuggets. I actually did think Phoenix was a worse matchup for the Lakers. I feel like they're better as like a team defense rather than isolation defenders, and KD and Book together, that's a nightmare if you don't have your isolation defense on point. I could have easily saw another scenario where Booker was going 20 for 25 and the Lakers just had nothing to stop him, but that's not going to be a problem anymore. But I think as a team defense, they're more suited to stop Denver. Not to say it's going to be easy to stop Denver at all. Denver is the #1 offense this year for a reason, but I think the Lakers are more equipped to deal with them than they were to deal with Phoenix. I think the fact that the Lakers have played against Denver before granted it was a few years ago, but the cores are the same. Like the core of Denver is the same, and LeBron and AD are the core of the Lakers, I guess you could say. So that's the same too. So the fact that they've played against them before, I think that's really going to help the Lakers. In many ways, people always talk about, oh, how are the Lakers going to stop this? How are the Lakers going to stop that? But nobody ever really talks about how the opposing team is going to stop what the Lakers do. And I do think there will be times where Denver will be able to kind of be who they are on offense. I do think there will be a few games where that may happen for sure. I think Denver's really going to have to come out and punch LA in the mouth and kind of get them to just lay down, like the role players to lay down, and hopefully they can get out of there in 5 games. Or I could see the Lakers just repeating the formula, just stick with it. They've been pretty consistent, and every time you see their locker room, they just talk about they just got to keep grinding and keep fighting, going about things the same way. And I think Darvin has preached that to them all throughout the year. So I think it's either going to be Denver in 5 or Lakers in 6. I'd really have to go and watch some more tape, I guess you could say, and I'd also have to see kind of how the vibe of game 1. But you know, I don't want to cheat or anything. So if I were to choose one, I would just say Lakers in 6. It's kind of a safer point. I think Denver has to get it done early. Otherwise, we'll be in another scenario where we see what the Lakers did to the Grizzlies and Warriors. And if it goes 7, I don't think that's good for the Nuggets either. I mean, LeBron, you look at his record in Game 7s. He's lost 2 Game 7s in his career, and the last time he won, George W. Bush was president. So I really think you're going to have to take care of business early if you're the Nuggets. And you know, the Lakers, they're poised right now. In my eyes, I would say they even have some momentum going for them right now. Just kind of how things are. Like I said before, I think the Nuggets can catch the Lakers slipping. The Lakers, they spent a lot of emotional energy on that last series. But at the same time, a lot of these role players have had to do some quick growing up. And I think these 2 series got a lot of confidence in them. I think this last series got a lot of confidence in Lonnie. And if this is a more offensive-based series than a defensive-based series, then that'll be good for some of those guys. But that's neither here nor there right now. I'm definitely not going to sleep on the Nuggets if I was the Lakers. At the same time, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of analysts doing their usual thing where they doubt the Lakers. So if you're the Nuggets, don't sleep on the Lakers either. I think this series will be more fun than the last one, but at the same time, like I said before, the narratives aren't going to be as strong. But I think we're going to see some good basketball here. To be honest, I don't really think we saw good fun basketball in the Lakers-Warriors series, but we'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see how this all plays out. I'm really thinking LeBron is the biggest anomaly in the NBA. He has all these first player to do this, first to do this, first to do that. So first player to go from 2-10 to the finals, first player that is able to go from a 7th seed and win it all. I mean, I would not be surprised at this point. So we'll see. Lakers have proven to me they're a good team. Nuggets obviously are a good team. Should be an interesting matchup. Hopefully I can recap some of those games. Once again, subscribe, get a free jersey. Take it easy, y'all.